Hello Internet and welcome to another episode of VGC Basics. Today I will be talking about EVs and how to use them and how to properly EV your Pokemon. Sorry, Showdown just disconnected. I'm on Pokemon Showdown here and I'm just gonna brought up some Pokemon to introduce you to EVs. Now, first comes first. What are EVs? EVs are, let's go to my boy Pikachu. EVs are effort values, and you get them every single time you KO a Pokemon. So they're usually the Pokemon's best stat. In this case, Pikachu's best stat is his 90 base speed. And if you look on top over here, as you can see, effort values earned to speed EVs. So depending on the Pokemon, every single Pokemon has its own speed points or attack points or special attack points or defense points or special defense, etc. that you get after you KO them. So in older games, in order to get EVs, you would simply KO the Pokemons that you wanted to get the EVs from. Now, what do EVs actually do? So let's go over here and let's see. There's a scroller here and you can have anywhere from 0 to 252 EVs. What that actually does is, if you look at the number over here, it can add anywhere from 0 to 32 points into any one stat, which is really nice, and it's a lot in the grand scheme of things. So you always want to EV your Pokemon, especially when you're getting into competitive meta. Now, the way EVs work is, in order to actually increase it, first you have to add 4 to get the first 1 point, and then every 8 after that you get another point. So all the way up to actually 252, and that is the maximum amount. So if you want to max out 2 stats, let's say I want to max out HP and special attack, because Lapras is a special attacker, then you can do that, and then you have 4 extra to add another 1 point to any one stat. So this is usually what EV spreads look like, and for the most part, in the beginning of team building, this is what most people do, and even now in professional team building, if you want things to just go as fast as possible and hit as hard as possible, things like Cinderace, which are more of a glass cannon and don't have such great defenses, so you simply just put maximum EVs into attack and speed. Or a Trick Room Pokemon like Dusclops, you would put into max HP and then spread out in defenses, because it's a more of a defensive Pokemon. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is how you actually get EVs onto your Pokemon without KOing Pokemon. So, as of Gen 1, they had all these vitamins that you could use in order to increase your Pokemon's EVs by 10. And then after, in Gen 3, the special split, they added a special defense. So what that means is that you would have to use 26 of these vitamins in order to max out a stat in EVs. Now, where do you actually get these vitamins? And they're actually located in the Battle Tower. I believe you can get them for BP, but that's not worth it because BP is hard to come by, and you should just use money. And the places you buy them with money is actually in the Pokemon Center in Winden, and in the Isle of Armor they actually added vending machines in the dojo. If you invest watts in the dojo, then you will get a vending machine with vitamins in it. Now, what's very cool about the Isle of Armor is that those vending machines, if you buy these vitamins in bulk, then you actually get half off, and they cost 125,000 instead of 250,000, I believe. But anyway, they're half off, so it's much better price, especially when you're using a lot of them to buff up your Pokemon in order to make teams for competitive. Next thing I want to talk about is actually the feathers. The feathers do the same thing as the vitamins, each one having their respective stat that they increase. And then the pretty feather you can just sell for money, it's not really worth anything. But you can find these in the shiny spots on the floor, all over the wild area, and even all over Galar itself. But especially on the Route 5, I believe, the bridge next to the daycare, you find feathers every single day. They spawn. There's I think like 5 of them spawn every day. So you could just pick up the shiny spots on the bridge and then you'll get a feather. What these actually do is they increase your EV by 1. So let's say you don't want to use 26 vitamins in order to get 252. So you could use 25 and then 2 feathers to increase the stats. So instead of using a whole vitamin, which requires 10, you could use a feather, which only requires 1, which is nice. The next thing I want to talk about is actually, I say the next thing I want to talk about like all the time, and I don't know if it's annoying, so please tell me in the comments if it's really annoying. I'll try and stop. I mean, I took a public speaking class in senior year, and that was fun. And every time you went up to do something, it was a lot of improv and stuff. So every time you went up to do something and you said like or as or something like that, then teacher would make you sit down and you would get really embarrassed. But it was okay because it was only like 10 kids in the class. It was very fun. But I digress. Anyway, sometimes you want to actually prioritize things when it comes to EVing. So things you would want to necessarily prioritize are life orb damage and actually leftovers, black sludge, or grassy terrain recovery, because they all do the same thing. They increase your HP by 1/16 per turn. I highlighted it already. But they increase your hit points by 1/16 per turn. So if you want to maximize that, then you would have to make your HP stat divisible by 16. So in order to do that, you can invest and then say, oh, okay, 190, 160, 176, 192, 208, and then add 16 to that. That's 224. So I believe that's the sweet spot number. Yeah, 224. So if you want to maximize grassy terrain recovery, let's say you have a Rillaboom on your team, even though Rillaboom is banned now, I'll probably do a different video about that, being like, oh, what Pokemon can you actually use? But so if you have grassy terrain, or if you're using the item leftovers and you want to maximize that recovery, so then you can make that number divisible by 16, and then you can invest the rest in bulk, and therefore you'll be maximizing the amount of grassy terrain that you will get back from your HP. About Life Orb, what the Life Orb does is actually increases all your moves, special or physical, by 1.3 times damage, but you lose 1/10 of your max HP after each attack. So in order to prioritize the amount of attacks that you would be able to do, you would want to make your HP stat end with a 9. And what that actually does is you would get 23. If you divide this by 10, you would get 22.9. So therefore, you would get 23 for the price of 22.9, and you wouldn't have to invest so much in HP, and you could invest the rest in bulk or attack or something like that. When it comes to sweepers, where you're not investing HP, Life Orb HP stat doesn't really matter, because you're just investing all in speed and attack. Next thing I want to talk about is how you get something like this. This is like super advanced, I don't know, advanced EVing, I would say, because you're not just maxing out 2 stats and then putting the 4 in another stat. And the way you really know what you want to do is you have to use this damage calculator. This is the Pokemon Showdown damage calc, and it's super useful when it comes to telling you the RNG in Pokemon. What it actually does, let's say I have a Colossal, right? I just made a Colossal set, probably show that in a different video. And let's say I have a Colossal and I want to KO a Charizard. Actually, you know what? Yeah, Charizard. So these are all presets, like I've talked about. Choice Scarf. Who runs Choice Scarf on a Charizard? Anyway, I want to know if I use Ancient Power, because most Colossals run special sets. Does it kill when I'm not maxed? So let's say, okay, I have maximum special attack. Up that. Modest, which increases special attack and decreases attack. Now I want to see if it KOs Charizard with no bulk. See, it doesn't. So these are just, but this is how much it does, and these are the actual values that you will get. Cool thing is it does it for you. So anything like this, if you have common Pokemon in the meta and you want to say, I have this Pokemon and I want to survive this hit, or I have this Pokemon and I want to make sure that I always KO this, so therefore you wouldn't have to necessarily invest as much if you have certain things in mind. Last thing I want to talk about is speed. As you can see, Rillaboom has 85 base speed, and Chandelure has 80 base speed. Now speed is very important because it determines who goes first and who goes last. And in Trick Room, the slower Pokemon go first, and the faster Pokemon go last. So, what the cool thing is that you don't have to invest in max speed if you just want to outspeed a base 80 Pokemon, if you're a base 85. As you can see, with only 220 EVs, I can outspeed by 1 point a Chandelure with max speed and Timid Nature also, plus Speed Nature. So these are little things that you have to consider, and even a 1 point difference in speed matters because it ensures that you go first. And sometimes you have these interactions with Pokemon where you want this Pokemon to go first, and you want to know that this Pokemon will always go before its partner or its opponent. So these are little things that you have to take into account when EVing, but mostly what you want to do is start with spreads like these, and then if you find something that counters your team and you want to adjust, then you should use the damage calculator in order to calculate how much you need to invest in any stat in order to survive a hit or KO a Pokemon. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I don't know what I'm going to do next. I'll figure it out, but I think I'm going to talk about the new meta. Yeah. Well, like, subscribe, please share with a friend, and I'll catch you later. Bye.